Hello friends, so welcome back to this user management system version 4. So far we have seen three versions. So let me start from the beginning. So in the first we have seen very basic thing. Second we have seen the session based API and some additional endpoints are added. Third we have shifted to ChatGPT and uh, everything is generated by AI ChatGPT, the development code as well as automation, and we have seen the additional features like OTP based implementation registration and account getting locked and some basic features. Now in the part 4 we are going to see admin non-admin access control, some basic stuff like for example there's a first register first user who registers will be an admin, and then admin can control certain features of non-admin users and what admin can do, what a non-admin can do, and so on. Admin can get list of pending elevation requests from other users. For example, so it's a multi-admin structure. So first there will be an admin, and then the other user will be registering, and then the other user, if they want to become admin, they will raise a request to elevate their access, and then any of the admin can approve it. Admin can accept, reject elevation requests for other users, and so on. So just giving a simple try here. Uh, so far we have seen very basic features. Now let us see real advanced feature, that is admin on admin access control. Right. So to start with, so I'm going to share the basic steps how I'm going to do this, how I did it basically. So feature request and brainstorming. So of course there will be a lot of features for user management. So I came up with some basic features that I should have an admin and not admin, and then some access control. Then the technical requirement gathering, like what will be the APIs and who can do what and so on, some technical stuff. Then infrastructure design. So this is basically remaining the same, that we have a Docker, and then Docker Compose we have a one image for Python, one image for database. So I'm using SQLite database and so on. Then requirement document generation. This is a very basic stuff so that it will be useful for developers and QA. Then coding from the implementation of the APIs, some recoding, some fine tuning, and all. Then yes, Swagger file generation, which is again a base document for API testing, and it will be a basic document for referral. Then based on Swagger, we will generate a postman collection. This is useful for manual testing, uh, for further requirements for both for developers and maybe for QA also. Um, Manual testing we'll do first with the postman. Some APIs we'll call and do, so we'll just check whether basic things are working and all. And the automation using Python, that also everything using ChatGPT and Python. So basically everything using AI. So let's get started. Right. um, so we'll start with GitHub. So all the source code, uh, backend solution is available. Then the automation framework is also available here in the GitHub repository. These links I will give you in the description. Um, Now some additional things. I'm using ChatGPT for generating the development side code and also the automation side code. Right. So from the development perspective, this entire discussion, what is how I have gone through it, that everything is available with a link. So this development and automation, everything link is given. You can just open it with your login, or even without login to ChatGPT, and you can see the way the way steps are given. The way I would say instructions are given to ChatGPT, or I would say a simple prompt. So let's come to the prompt first. Yeah. So some feature discussion, brainstorming, and all. So admin user will have an admin flag. Very first user who will register will be an admin user. Then multi-admin structure. Only admin can elevate the registered user as an admin. Um, Once any user is admin, then no one can make it as a non-admin or a normal user. So admin can self-volunteer to be non-admin, and so on. So yeah, basic stuff. Then the prompting. So I continued with the one which is used in the version 3. So this is a version 4. If you see, this is version 4. So till version 1, 2, 3, whatever was used, that same thing I used, but little fine tuning, little more relevant instructions, and little improvement based on the earlier mistakes I have done. Yeah, so I'm giving the uh, some basic stuff here, and I'm giving a little detailed instruction that this is what currently for the feature 4 version 4, this is what is expected. Yeah, so then the API is yeah, as standard structure, the API endpoint, input output parameters, path parameters, and so on. Some basic notes that it is a Docker compose and so on. And the first thing I am asking is to have a SRS generation. Now this is happening automatically, obviously, and in the SRS I am expecting um, the requirements should be following, like whatever there is still till version 3 plus little delta which is version 4 and so on. So I have a SRS generated. Let's see the SRS. So this is also available in the GitHub. Right, so SRS generated some basic stuff here. um, Admin privilege. So, yeah, so this is the delta which I was mentioning. So this is the extra thing which is added, and the other things are as usual. I would not say a legacy, but as usual. um, Password management, field restrictions. Yeah, email should be 5 to 25 characters. So this is all there in till version 3. So same thing I'm doing. API summary, database schema and all. So everything is mentioned in the SRS. Yeah. So that is for the SRS document. Now, so I'm going as for this. These two are manual stuff. Then again, this is basically thinking, and then SRS, and then uh, when it generates the source code, then I will tell that okay, I want a Docker compose and whatnot. So coding, right now, coding part. Okay, before that there's a flowchart also. So earlier till now we were using the mind map. So I thought let's go for a flowchart. So it generated a simple flowchart. So there's a start, registration, OTP based key, and then registration complete, then login, then active sessions. You can have a refresh session, refresh token, get profile, update profile, forget password, logout, account locking, and so on. And there's one more flowchart here, little different, almost similar but little different. So admin user can do, non-admin user can do. So again, this is generated by AI. I don't expect it to be 100% as expected, but yes, just a overall idea what is happening in version 4 of the user management. Right, so flowchart generation, again similar steps. uh, yeah, now the actual Python based implementation, so it is using the same I think fast API or something for writing the APIs and all in the Python library and the required code. So similar instruction, but then now I'm telling it that the module provided. So I'm giving the version 3 zip file, the actual version 3 development code. So it will be here, version 3, and just download this, the actuals, the backend code, zip it, zip this entire thing and give it as a zip file as an input. And then I'm telling now just add this little delta. um, Maybe I'm repeating some instruction, like for example I'm giving I'm saying only use the exact source code, the status codes which I want. um, just to tell you, just to tell the chat gpt that this is exactly what I want, don't go outside of this, because there is a phenomena, something called as hallucination, which I realized later that okay, let me show that. So this one, yeah, I'm interacting with an AI tool who generates code for me, but it keeps on forgetting full context requirement provided since beginning. I've forgotten. So how do I give instructions properly to the tool so that the tool remembers the context and provide proper code? So give me 3 4 points. So yeah, again the same question I have asked to one of the AI, and that it replied. It's a common frustration because it is something called as a context window limit. Uh, as the conversation grows, the earliest instructions get pushed out of the immediate of their immediate memory. So kind of a hallucination that it only remembers the recent instructions or recent or latest updates. It may forget the very early context. For example, I'm on version 4 now, so it might forget what is there in version 1, version 2. Just it will take version 3 onwards. So how to tackle this? uh, this may not work 100% of the time, but let's say most of the time. So you need to provide something called as master context. You have to say that remind you have to paste a concise project status update at the top of the request. The technique remind the AI of the core tech stack, use roles, admin, non-admin, and the current goal. Example, it generated the one which based on my chat history. Context use Python fast API backend, use admin and standard current task, and implementing the profile endpoint. Ensure only admins. So again, uh, it is so this all prompt engineering, I would say, to give proper instructions exactly what we want and exactly what we don't want. Okay, and again setting the context. Use a single source of truth. So give it a earlier used document so that it will not go outside the. So the scope is this, the one which you have uploaded while you want something from the ChatGPT. Uh, that document it will refer. So that's why it will remain in the context most of the time. Yeah, based on the following requirement, first write the code and then paste the entire list. So yeah, giving it the context. Implement modular instruction, the brick method. Again, don't ask for the entire backend at once. Ask for user model. Then so it is a iterative approach or incremental approach. Okay, ask small things and incrementally you build it. So I've used this also in while generating the automation. I have there automation and postman collection. So I'm telling every time, be iterative, be incremental in approach, and just fix small things. Just fix the expected source code, status code, expected JSON validation, and so on. Yeah, and so on. So same thing I followed. So source code is generated. Now next step is uh, generating the Swagger. Yeah. So Swagger file. Let's see the Swagger file. It will be in the API framework Swagger. So Swagger file, control A, copy, and Swagger editor is there. So paste. Right. So here there are legacy or earlier APIs. Okay, and there are additional APIs. For example, for admin we have a request admin, then pending request for other elevation request, and then handle request. For example, if you want to approve or reject somebody's admin claim and so on. So this is how the Swagger is generated. Of course, Swagger was not generated in full in the first go. So that's why if you see in the chat GPT, yeah, first time Swagger generated, second time generated with some additional stuff, then some source code thing. Okay, so the point is, it has to be an iterative and incremental approach. Of course, AI has good potential, vast potential, but then we have to limit it. You see, yeah, this is what 4 times I have to request that these are the additional things I want. I want this in specific way. I want don't touch any other API request response in the Swagger. So many times it has happened. Practically, I'm telling that in the Swagger, it let's say for this post API, so it generated the Swagger, the endpoints and all, expected response and response body, but then it forgot the request body for all the APIs. Then sometimes for some of the APIs, this was generated, request body was generated, happy path response was generated, and for the negative or the error codes, there was nothing. It was just like a text information that 400 bad requests, 401 unauthorized, something like that. So we want it in, we want it to be complete in all the aspects, that fetch these actual messages from the actual code. So that is what it did, um, for many of the APIs, especially um, for the version 4. These three are added. So yeah, this was having a lot of pain to tell the ChatGPT that, take it, the consider the actual messages from the actual code, and don't put any generic messages here. Okay, so um, Swagger is done. Now postman collection. Okay, so as mentioned in the earlier videos also, so for automation stuff, I've used a different setting here. So in automation, uh, yeah, so this is from the development perspective, and the one which is having a little right hand side, that this tab. So if you see, this starts from the column 0, and this starts from, let's say, column 5. So these all are for the automation perspective, or whatever is from the testing side, right? So from testing side, we need to write the test cases, as we have seen here. Okay, so test case generation step is not mentioned here. Okay, maybe after Swagger. Okay, so test case generation has to be there. Test case. So why I'm using different sections, because if you mix everything in the development section, then it might get confused. I've seen it, so that's why different chat, this thing, different chat window. So here, to let it know that these two are independent. So first thing is, you have to upload the Swagger and the SRS document, and then you say, okay, now write the test cases and so on. Okay, so this is the best approach, that let development be there in Python or Java or whatever. uh, I have the requirement, I have the Swagger, so how can I write best test cases? So that's why separate prompt, right? So let me show the test cases also. Yeah, and this time I have asked him to write in an Excel instead of a Word document. So it is basic thing, but in Excel, sometimes it is easy to uh, quickly refer, and maybe in future we can upload it in Confluence or Jira or whatever tool, for just give the names of the fields in Jira, and it will upload it. So you can have a ready-made test case generation, right? So these are all the positive test cases, yes, and next we have negative test cases, and so on, right? So test case generation, then so test case generation, then the postman generation. So again, postman generation is mainly from basically testing each and every endpoint. It needs a Swagger. Okay, so yeah, Swagger is an input, and also in postman it made a lot of mistakes. So first time, second time postman, third time, one more time, again one more time. So this took a lot of time. Yeah, this one. So postman collection is also here. Yeah, postman collection. It is already imported in the uh, actual postman, and it's also available in the GitHub. So if you see the API frame, the automation part, we have a postman, then we have SRS test cases. We have the screenshot and all, right? So postman is also there. Now let's see how to make the application up and running. So as I said, this is a Docker based solution. So there's a Docker file and the Docker Compose file. So you can see in the Docker Compose file, there is one image for Python and one image for database. Okay, user management apps. So this is there in the Docker file also. So user management app, it is using Python image. Yeah, Python image. Okay, right. So I have a Docker desktop running, and if you see, there is no container, there is no image, there is no volume, nothing. Right, so we'll start from scratch. So simply go to command prompt, and the commands are straightforward. So Docker Compose build. So it will freshly download the Python image, the SQLite image, and build according to our requirement. Right. So images are downloaded. Then Docker Compose up -d, that is detached mode. And next I will say Docker Compose logs. Yeah. So the application is running in backend, and we'll just see the logs. Right. So we are seeing the logs. It is running on the this particular localhost. Right. So first thing is we will test using the postman, very basic thing. So, and we'll also see the automation. So this is the collection where there are some variables. So we have a admin email, we have a user email, and for now there's only one password. But yes, these things will change. So registration. So first we will register with the admin. So by the way, we are using SQLite database, which is also exposed on a port. So there is a UI for the SQLite where we can actually see uh, the particular database content. So there are two tables, user management and SQLite segments. So we'll go for user management users. Click on it, so it will refresh, and there is no data in this particular table now. So let me do a registration first. Right, so the first user, which is the brand new user registered, will be the admin, and there's an OTP. So OTP I have to copy here for future needs, and the session key for the admin user. Right, control S, save. Now registration complete. So I have, for registration complete, again I have the admin email, so I have to go to make it as an admin email, password same, OTP, and session key. It will take it from the variable. Okay, so registration completed, and let's do a login. So login will have a admin user login. Save and send. So login successful, and the new session key generated. This is for the admin user. So we'll change the session key here. So now we are all set for the admin user. Now let's see in the DB. So in the DB, if you just click on it, it will refresh. And so now we have the admin abc underscore test. And if you see this flag is admin true. Okay. And the session key, OTP, everything is fine. All right. Now, what we can do, we can have a normal user generation. Again, you register with a different email. So register with this URL, this email, user email, which is different, and then we can again register for this. Register complete, then login, and then we can raise a admin role request for this user using postman, or we can see the automation demos. Right. So this all are working. You can see it later. Now let's see the prompt thing. So in the prompt, test case generation is fine, postman is fine. uh, so in the automation generation, right, so in the automation code generation, what I have given is I have zipped the earlier automation code till version 3. So again, till version 3, till version 3, whatever was automation code, it was here, API framework. So this folder I have zipped and given to the ChatGPT as an input, and I have asked it, like, take this existing code, then use the latest Swagger, and then implement the additional automation for the missing endpoints. Okay, so it's a back and forth process. Sometimes it so what happened, sometimes uh, it took that reference code, automation reference code, and the latest Swagger file, and generated the automation code only for the new endpoints, and the old endpoints automation code was missing. So it's not good. I want it to be incremental. I want it to be I said implement additional this thing, but then it took literally the same way that it just took the additional endpoints and forgot all the old endpoints, right? So again, there's been back and forth automation correction, separate positive negative test cases in particular method, uh, right? Additional negative test cases, okay. Do not modify any other part of the code. Need additional robust negative test cases. Then this is for the development side. So here what I found is it generated negative test cases, and it's tested it actually, and it was not getting the expected response as mentioned in the Swagger. So then I went back to the actual source code, and for each endpoint negative test cases not getting the expected. So here the case was for one of the negative test case, for example during registration, if I don't provide any email ID, then the response code was HTTP 422. Now 422 4xx series is fine, but then 422 is something which I didn't expect because it was not mentioned in Swagger. So automation took it as it will expect, let's say 400 or 401, but we actually got the 422 status code. So then again, as I said in the initial discussion, I mentioned that we are only supporting these status codes, right? So it forgot it. The development was forgotten, and somehow it was only giving some random status codes which are not in this list. So I have to bring it back to the context that do not process any other status code apart from the list of status code means codes mentioned earlier, right? So this is how we need to interact with the any AI tool, right now ChatGPT, that bring it in the proper context what we want and what we don't want. If it forgets, okay, tell him small case by case instruction, and then have a holistic approach. Okay, so this was again lot of code, existing code is missing. uh, Again one more existing code is missing. The first user becomes admin part was actually skipped. So randomly these kind of things happen. Yeah, then registration complete should return 201. It was returning 200. Yeah, and so on. So this again little back and forth. Then I with that with this I updated some of the instructions which how I should give it to the chat gpt, right? So again the development part was again done uh, for many of the, like for example this, yeah, it was returning, still returns 422 for negative scenario. So I don't want 422, I want the code from the list which I've given, and so on, right? So development part again some back and forth. This everything you can see in this particular link, the development code and the QE code. So everything is available. Whatever I have given instruction there, that say everything is available with these two links. You can go and you can check. Right now, coming to the okay flowchart, we are done. Postman collection done. Manual testing I have done manually, and then I've shown you a simple demo. And now let's talk about automation. So automation, uh, SR is also done. Automation, yeah. So automation code, it's also available in GitHub, and I have asked him to refer the existing code till version 3 and then little more changes as per the new requirement. Right. So registration, then registration complete, and then admin login. Right. So now here it will, what will happen is it will generate the emails on the fly. So if you see here, email, right? So generate email, it automatically return the method, some random characters and all. Generate the random password for each session or for each API separate. Then call the registration endpoint, and then call the complete endpoint, and then call the login endpoint. So whether if you want to see, so registration is init, then complete, and then login. Same thing what we have done in the postman. So that is coming from this particular list. Okay, so admin login case positive done. Admin negative case, let's run. So here I'm expecting 400. Okay, I'm not providing any uh, username password. Okay, no session ID, nothing. So that is passed. Then user related, so user registration, init complete, positive, login, then logout. Okay, logout also. So let's run this. Okay, so all green. Then we will see the registration negative. So here invalid password we are giving, and we are expecting 401. Okay, so that is fine. All endpoints negative test cases. So yeah, this is also important to, to understand if there are some negative cases where it will fail. So registration with empty email, registration complete with no or invalid OTP, unregistered email, no email, invalid session, missing action. That I know I'm telling it, do the admin handling thing, but there is no action, and so on. Right. So let's run this. Okay. So this is all green. You can see this individually also later. And now coming to the admin request handling. Okay, so the flow will be, there is a admin user, there is a non-admin user, both will register OTP and then login, and then non-admin user will raise a admin request, and the admin user will have to accept it. Okay, accept or reject. So yeah, register for the admin email, then uh, refresh, register fresh non-admin user, again non-admin user email registration, then um, admin request. Yeah, so non-admin user, the normal user, will raise a request to be an admin. So now for the admin user, it will raise a, it will call the API call is, that is admin pending admin request, and then it will see, okay, are there really any pending request for uh, admin elevation access, and then it will uh, get the email for particular user for which they want to approve, and then it will say accept. Okay, and the status code validation. Right. So for this, there is a little change here. I need to clear the database, because this automation assumes that the first user which is registered will be an admin email. So let me start fresh. Let me delete all the rows. Right. So now the database is empty, and now I'm going to run the automation as explained. Right, so the steps are working, and now the both the users should be an admin user. So how to check that is, go here, and if you see, this was the first admin registered, it is an admin, and with all the steps, all the API calls and all, the second user, which is a normal user, is also an admin. It is the request for this particular user to be an admin is approved or accepted by this particular admin. Okay, right. So that is all about uh, uh, this current step, version 4, admin non admin access control. Of course, again, this is a very basic thing. We can, the list of features, what an admin can do, non-admin can do, can be extended so far. Maybe that I will take it in the future versions. So for now, yes, one more implementation for access non-access control. So stay tuned. In future, I'm coming up with additional user management projects. For example, for a ticket booking website, for an e-commerce website, for hospitality website, for educational website, and so on. So we'll see different set of features. Basic thing remains the same, but it is basically little domain specific. Okay. So thank you, and please like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Thank you.